Welcome to the Raise Your Energy podcast. My name is Linda Lange and I'm your host and energy expert. Today is my last full day on my me retreat that I talked to you about just a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. And I wanted to take a chance and share with you what has happened over the last 4 to 5 days that are already behind me. And I won't be able to share everything yet because I don't probably have even all the words to express what I experienced. But I will share with you the situation that made me the most uncomfortable. So much discomfort that I will share with you today. And for that, I'm going to take you with me to my favorite spot where I'm staying here and show you the beautiful surroundings that I have been around in the last week. So let's go. Okay, hello. We are in this beautiful area called the Eifel in middle of Germany, and I'm in this village called Lind, like Linda, L-I-N-D. What a coincidence. And it's just so beautiful. It has these rolling hills that you will have seen now on the video and that you see behind me. And when I saw this scenery on most favorite spot here for the first time, first of all I was speechless because I was like, is this real? And then I literally said out loud, I'm in heaven. This is heaven. It's just so beautiful, and I wanted to take you here to tell you all about this week. So I'm staying in a really lovely small apartment in somebody else's house. They have 3 levels and I have the downstairs one, and it has beautiful views and it's just big enough for 1 or 2 people. It has a proper kitchen. Just feel so comfortable in that space for my inner work and all of my meditation. So I got really lucky, I would say, to stay with Petra at her apartment. Thank you, dear Petra. So how did I actually spend my last 5 days? Generally, every day looked pretty much the same. I got up, I meditated, I then got myself ready and had breakfast. Then I would either journal or I would do some study, so reading the book, A Course in Miracles, mainly. Or I would do some kind of inner work. Then I might do another meditation to process or integrate or let go of whatever came up in the first couple of hours of the day. And then I would have lunch, probably some more study time or journaling, and then I would go on my daily walk. There are just so many opportunities here to walk. In the afternoon I would do a little bit more work, another meditation, and then I would relax. And I said 2 episodes ago that I would be really strict on myself and not watch any TV or do any social media. And that's not what I did. Every evening after I would have done the meditation, I would do a bit of social media and I would watch TV, because by that time I was just done. And at the beginning of the week, I would probably justify it with, well, this is as well my holiday. I shouldn't really restrict myself. I should actually have as well some fun next to all the inner work, which I call fun as well. But I actually changed as well my perspective and my attitude towards that during the week, which was one of the things that happened, that I would say, well, I don't even need to justify myself to enjoy myself. This is what life is all about. So I had this was just one of the huge mindset shifts that I had throughout the week, and that allowed me to see this as one of the most impactful weeks that I've ever had. And I would say as well that I didn't miss anything by not having the evenings of doing more meditations or more inner work. It was more than enough. all the time that I did spend studying and meditating and processing and journaling were more than enough. I have never had these kinds of huge and deep revelations in my life, and I'm still so kind of swooped up off of my feet that I will need some time to adjust, to integrate, to apply this into my life, and then I will be able to speak about it in my podcast episodes to you, because at the moment I couldn't even express in the right words what I realized and what was revealed to me. But I think as well these kind of revelations are so personal that they should just stay for you, because everybody's journey looks different. So you will hear me talk about it more in the future in the podcast episodes for sure. I made as well a huge breakthrough in my surrender experiment with my body image, but I will keep that one for the next part of the surrender experiment series, where I will share with you what has happened this week in regards to that topic of my life. So watch out for an episode on that, probably coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. What I will share with you today is the situation that gave me the biggest amount of discomfort this week, and I will share with you how it got to it, what happened to me. I will literally share what made me feel so uncomfortable, and that I was still able to release it afterwards. But man, and woman, that was crazy. So let's dive into that topic. So on Tuesday morning, I started to work with my workbooks that I took and I shared in the episode 2 weeks ago that I wanted to complete. And I chose the 𝗪𝗛𝗔𝗧 workbook, and it's called Get What You Really Want. And in a nutshell, what it includes is a method to ask yourself over and over again the question why in terms of your want or desire. And I have used this method many times before. I talked about it in previous podcast episodes. It is very, very helpful to get to the root cause of your desires and your wants. And usually what you end up with is something more around feelings that you want to have more of in your life, like joy, love, freedom, bliss, excitement, whatever it is, it usually ends up in a feeling. So I did that exercise. So let me share with you first the example that is in the workbook by 𝗪𝗛𝗔𝗧, and then I will share with you my first attempt at doing it. Well, even the second and third, it didn't get any better than that. So the first example by 𝗪𝗛𝗔𝗪𝗛𝗧 is that the desire is I want to get into shape. And then you ask yourself, why do you want that? And the answer is because I want to get healthier. But why? And then the next answer is because I hate feeling tired and like I can't do all the things that I want to do. And then the question is again, why? Because I want to enjoy my life and do fun things with my family. And the next question is again, why? Because being around for them matters to me. And then the last why is because I'm worried that I don't get my health in check and that I'm not going to be around for them. So that's the example that was given in the workbook, which of course you can get as well yourself. It's a free workbook from 𝗪𝗛𝗪𝗛𝗧. Just Google it and I'm sure you will find it. So now I'm going to share with you my example. So my want is having a thriving business that helps people to help themselves to get healthy and happy. So I then asked myself the first why. Why do you want that? And my first answer was, I love to share my experience and my growth, and I want my fellow humans to experience it too. So that was my first why. Then comes the next why. And I answered, I can see how people are hurting, like I was hurting before, And I want them to wake up from that state, how I have woken up in the past. And as you can guess, the next question is why? So we can all heal ourselves and live in more peace, love, and harmony. Why? I want to feel connected and live in a community where we are all on the same frequency, the same wavelength, and we all know this. And then the last why answer is, I don't want to feel alone on this journey. I want to feel connected. So that is the root cause, and there you have it. I don't want to feel alone on this path, and I want to feel more connected. Now, there are some more questions to help you realize what just happened and how you can take the next steps in that workbook, right? But when I contemplated on these answers, I realized that this was not the end of it. There is more. There is so much more behind it. So I went down the rabbit hole and into search for deeper answers and the real bottom of it. And that's when it got really uncomfortable. So there are several more questions that I asked myself to really get to the bottom of it all. And the next question resulted out of my knowledge or my realization that there is usually a need behind a want. And I asked myself, so what is the need behind my want, right? My want is a thriving business and the need is to feel connected. So what is the need that I'm answering here? And the need is, of course, to feel connected. I got that. Okay. So then the next question is, what lack am I trying to fill with this want and that need? What is it that I'm trying to solve with this want and that need? In my case, this is not being alone, right? I don't want to be alone. In Mel's example, that would be the fear of dying too early, literally. But you know me, that's not as well where I stopped. And I got even further. Even that was already starting to get a little bit icky and a little bit like unsettling, but I went deeper. So the next question then resulted out of my experience that if we want to change something in our lives, we first of all have to accept where we're changing from. We have to accept that we created everything in our reality, because we do. So back to my example and my lack, which is that I don't want to be alone. So that means I am currently feeling alone, right? Kind of makes sense. I accept that I'm feeling alone and that I might even be addicted to it because I created it. I created a habit out of being alone. And perceiving myself as being alone all the time. So I asked myself, why? Okay, why? Obviously I have, because that's my reality and I'm trying to undo it with a need and a want. But why have I created this habit, this addiction of feeling alone in my life? So why did I create this? What did I create it for? And why do I still today keep it in my life and my reality? And that answer was the doozy. Let me tell you. The answer is that I feel superior to others. And that's why I actually like to be alone. I think I can do everything much better than anybody else, so I better do it myself. No surprise then that I'm alone. When that realization hit me, I felt so shocked and appalled with myself. Can you imagine that? I hope you can. So let me share all of that, what I realized the other way around. So first of all, I now realize that I feel superior to others and that I actually, because of that, like to feel alone. I actually like it. So Now, for me to not realize this truth, because I keep it hidden, deeply hidden and buried, I say, oh, I feel so alone, I want to be more connected. And to fulfill that need that I now created, I even use it to fuel my desire to create a thriving business, right? Where I can then connect with like-minded people so I don't feel alone anymore. Even that I now realize I do like to feel alone. And then I'm surprised that it's not working and it's not happening how I want it to. Well, because it's all bullshit, isn't it? And you know what? The uncomfortable place that put me in didn't even end there. No, I did this exercise, the why question from the workbook, and then my additional questions. I did this in 2 more desires in 2 different areas in my life, and I came out with even more uncomfortable realizations. And the other 2 were that in one of them I am a victim, great, and the other one I am feeling lost, aka playing dumb, instead of actually doing what I know I need to do to change. So when I sat with myself and these 3 huge realizations, I was so shocked. I was like, that's who I truly am? That's what's behind all of this outwardly inspirational wants and needs? A reason to feel superior, a way to be the victim, and then another one to play dumb? Wow, Linda, that's not pretty, is it? And you know what? At that moment, I didn't even know how to move forward. I was just in this uncomfortable place, having realized this, and having no clue what the next step is going to look like. But at the same time, I felt grateful. I could still distance myself enough to feel grateful for what has just been given to me, to realize that that is what is behind a lot of desire and wants that I apparently have. Well, better to see it and deal with it than keep it, well, buried for years and years to come, or even for the rest of my life, right? And I think that openness and willingness to deal with it, and the thankfulness for having discovered it all, has helped me then actually to help the process of releasing it and letting it go and finding a way to actually forgive myself. And what has helped me the most probably is by reading every day quite a few pages of the course in Miracles book, which I shared with you that I would take it a couple of weeks ago in the podcast episode. And I did read it, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. This book probably has come now at the perfect time, because I can't even describe to you how many revelations, insights, and aha moments I have received from it in just not even the first 100 pages. It's just mind-blowing. But it has helped me as well to see that what I discovered are errors that I can correct, and that I can ask for forgiveness from the universe, and that I can give myself as well forgiveness and just move on. So that's what I did. I sat myself down in a meditative state. I processed the emotions, I came up with all of that, and I forgave myself for each one of those things, even while I was seeing how some of them has flown through my whole life. The whole length of my life, minimum my adult life, I can see examples of where this was the case. where I perceived myself as this and acted therefore as well, as a victim, as somebody who thinks they are superior, or as a person playing dumb because they are just not taking the uncomfortable steps. Let's call it like that. So that was probably the most uncomfortable with myself that I have ever felt before in my life. Seeing something like that for the first time and realize that this is how I lived my life is pretty daunting. But there is no point in letting it affect your life for even one more day. Once you know, and you can decide differently from that moment forward. In my case, it means deciding that I'm not superior to anyone else. I am equal to all of human beings on this earth. Deciding that I'm not a victim to societal norms and their belief systems, and that I can decide to think differently than everybody else if I want to. I can make that decision. And deciding to stop playing dumb and pretend like I don't know how change works. Because I do. I teach it. So I know how to change. So stop playing dumb, Linda, and just do it. In a sense, what I'm doing is I'm calling bullshit on myself. And what I can tell you is that it's very, very liberating. And once you've done it, you can do it again, right? Calling bullshit on your stuff that is behind all of your desires and wants. And calling yourself out on all of that stuff that you're putting in front of yourself and others, how you perceive yourself, how you want others to perceive yourself, but actually what is really truly behind it. And then decide it was an error. You just didn't know any better, right? You just didn't know what was behind it. And then forgive yourself. Ask for forgiveness and forgive yourself. And then just move on. And as you can imagine, it is very liberating. It's freedom to get rid of that stuff. So for me, this is a new beginning of finding my errors, correcting those errors with love and compassion, but at the same time calling bullshit on myself. And if you're interested in doing the same and you'd love to follow that kind of process that I did to really get to the bottom of it and actually reveal yourself to yourself, then I will create a workbook for you. Give me a couple of weeks. I will write down the exact process that I took on these 3 examples, and I will give you as well some help to process it all and integrate it. And for you to probably know even better how to do it, I will create probably in about 2 weeks' time a podcast episode around the workbook once I've finished it. And then you will be able to get started and get to the bottom of who you truly are. The thing is, you find out who you truly are and have been, but then you can just change and decide differently, and then it's suddenly not who you are anymore. But would it not be better to know what is behind all of your wants and desires, and that it's not for the wrong reason, for the wrong purpose that you're working towards? That doesn't mean that your wants and desires have to change. They might, they probably will. But if you put a more meaningful reason behind it, it might actually work out. And you might actually create that reality. Because then you're living in a different kind of frequency. You're sending out different signals to the universe. And then your desires and wants can actually be created and come to life in your reality. So if it's already some time since I published this episode, then just check in the video description below and you will probably already find the link to the workbook. And if not yet, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that episode and that workbook for you to get it. Okay. I will go now and enjoy a little bit more this scenery around here on my last day. And I thank you so much for being with me here today. I appreciate you truly. And with that, I love you. And remember that I'm always with you. Talk soon and bye-bye.